Hello everyone and welcome back to the arena for another season of Dungeons and Death Battles, the series where we search for the most lethal monster in all of Dungeons and Dragons. The rules are simple, the fight takes place in the arena, combatants start 30 feet apart, there is no fleeing the arena, and victory is achieved by kill only. In this third season of Dungeons and Death Battles, 16 deadly dungeon denizens will be duking it out to find out which one of them is worthy of being crowned the CR3 Arena Champion. In today's quarterfinal showdown, the Yeti will be facing off against the Werewolf in a duel for battlefield supremacy and a spot in the semi-final round. Hailing from the frozen wastes of the world, the Yeti brings with it the ability to dish out cold damage, as well as the possibility to paralyze a foe with its chilling gaze. For this reason, the Kobold Mafia have very kindly provided potions of anti-paralysis, so we strongly advise you take these before the battle begins. Known side effects include muddle mind, minor stiffness, and in rare cases, violent outbursts. Please take with caution. Now, the Yeti weighs in with 12 AC and a hit point average of 51, as well as a bulky set of stats including 18 strength and 16 constitution, both of which help these winter warriors shrug off all but the most treacherous of mountain conditions. And handing over to the other side of the arena, we have the return of the Werewolf, who we have come to know as George. After an absolute demolition job last round, our Werewolf is back once again to wreak havoc in the arena and is definitely one contender to keep both eyes on. Werewolves are, as we have discovered, extremely difficult to damage, with immunity to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from unsilvered weapons absolutely carrying it through its debut combat. The Werewolf matches the Yeti's 12 AC, but has a slightly higher hit point average of 58. It does also have slightly less peaked stats, but they are more well-rounded, with nothing below a 10 and a 15 in strength and 14 in constitution as highlights. Well, without further ado, it looks like today's contenders have made it into the arena. Only one paralysis victim this time, as one of the mountain wranglers appears to have caught the Yeti's gaze. I can see from my box that they have been removed from the arena, which does mean that it is time to roll for initiative, starting with the Yeti and its +1 modifier. So rolling in Yeti first, +1 to this right here, as we kick things off with a 9 +1 for 10. Very, very average there. Let's see if the Werewolf can take the advantage here as we roll in. Werewolf also a +1 to this, and that is a 9 plus that 1 for 10. And with both creatures having a matching dexterity of 13, that does mean we are going to re-roll these, starting once again with the Yeti. Both these creatures really looking to get the pole position start here. So Yeti rolling in once again, second time lucky, and that is a 5. That's lower than before, +1 for 6. And so Werewolf coming through once again, and there we go. That is a 12 plus 1 for 13, which does mean that the Werewolf is taking pole position here in this quarter-final bout. And the Lycanthrope is going to waste absolutely no time at all in barreling across the arena and into close combat with the Yeti, where it will begin to unleash its attacks. First coming through with a bite, followed by its claws. So rolling in that bite attack first, +4 to this from the Werewolf. And with a 2, that is not going to land. With that 4 only bringing that up to a 6, that is a dud strike right there, as the Yeti just blocks the Werewolf's first attack. But all is not lost as the claws come in swinging too. So Werewolf claws rolling in, also a +4 to this one, and a 4 +4 for 8. The Werewolf is not starting off well. It's only looking to beat an AC of 12, and it has not managed it either time. And that does leave it standing toe-to-toe with its monstrous opponent. And as all of us in the crowd look on, we can see the Yeti's eyes are glowing blue as it prepares to unleash a chilling gaze. And now, as we know, the Yeti targets one creature it can see within 30 feet of it. If the target can see the Yeti, it must succeed in a DC 13 Constitution saving throw against the magic, or take 3d6 points of cold damage, and then be paralyzed for 1 minute. Now, this is a crucial roll right here for the Werewolf straight out the gate, as it must now succeed on a DC 13 Constitution saving throw to avoid a block of magical cold damage, and of course the paralysis condition. So Werewolf rolling in, looking to beat a DC 13 here. Does get a +2 to its Constitution rolls, so let's see if it can stave off this onslaught. And with a 9 +2 for 11, the Werewolf has succumbed to the chilling gaze immediately, falling down there by 2 points, which does mean it will be taking those 3d6 points of cold damage, plus the paralysis condition will be applied. This is incredible news for the Yeti, and not so great for the Werewolf. So, first things first, 3d6 points of cold damage against the Werewolf right here, as the Yeti's unrelenting gaze just pressures and burns away at the Werewolf here. 3d6 points of damage coming in, and that is monstrous damage as well, with 2 6s for 12, plus that 3 for 15 points of damage. That chilling gaze is going to bring the Werewolf from 58 to 43 hit points immediately here. An incredibly strong start from the Yeti, and due to its multi-attack, it is still able to make 2 claw attacks. And this does mean that the Yeti is going to be making these attacks at advantage, plus if any of these attacks hit, they will be treated as critical hits. So rolling in for the first attack at advantage from the Yeti here, looking to beat that AC of 12. And that is a pitifully miserable roll. Even with the Yeti's +6, that 4 is only going to be brought up to a 10, which means that that first attack misses, but it does get to roll that in again. Once again, at advantage. Let's see if it can do it better this time. And that's more like it. With a 17 +6 for 23. Gonna make it through for sure this time, as the werewolf just starts to feel its body freezing up as a result of that chilling gaze. That paralysis condition, of course, meaning that that hit is going to be treated as a critical. But the werewolf does at least have one saving grace, and that it is immune to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. However, the Yeti does also deal cold damage as part of its attack, and this is usually 1d6 per claw strike, but obviously as this is a critical, we will just roll in that 2d6 points of cold damage, completely ignoring any slashing damage that may have been dealt. So 2d6 points of cold damage coming through as well, and another decent roll there with 4 and 3 coming together for 7 more points of damage, as after that first round, the werewolf has been brought down to 36 hit points right here. Something that its cockiness walking into the arena will have been unlikely to predict. And now we do hand back over to the werewolf, which is still paralyzed, and that does mean that we essentially pass through to the end of its turn, at which point it will be able to make a constitution saving throw once again to see if it can stave off that paralysis. So werewolf rolling in once again, looking to be a DC 13 here. Let's see if it can break free of its frigid chains. And there we go, that is more like it, with a 15 plus that 2 for 17. The werewolf shakes itself off and is no longer paralyzed, and now it will be immune to the Yeti's chilling gaze for the rest of this combat, which will most certainly not last an hour. But as that did essentially skip through the werewolf's turn, we do hand straight back over to the Yeti, which is once again going to make its claw attacks. Again, there is no use in rolling in for the chilling gaze, as the werewolf is now immune to all effects. So Yeti rolling in 2 claw attacks, no longer at advantage, but again still looking to beat an AC of 12 here. And a 13 plus 6 for 19 is going to do it. So we will now be rolling in just a single d6 worth of cold damage. And that is a 5 very, very solid hit right there for that first claw attack, which will bring the werewolf down to 31 hit points. Second attack coming through. And that is an 11, again, plus 6, bringing that up to a 17. Another strike from the Yeti. We'll again be rolling in a d6. Yet again, more cold damage on the board. And a maximum strike there. 6 points of cold damage headed towards the werewolf, which will bring it down to 25 hit points. The werewolf didn't take any damage at all last round, and it's not something it's going to have been used to, so it will really be feeling this here. But now we do hand back over to the werewolf, which is going to start to weigh in now with its own attacks. Once again, a bite and some claws coming through right here against the Yeti. So first things first, bite, +4 to this, looking to beat that AC of 12. And a 2 again! The werewolf clearly only just recovering from that paralysis. Its jaws aren't quite functioning yet, as it just fails to make the snap in time. Let's see if it has any more luck with those claws. Once again, +4 to this, and a 13. There we go, 13 +4 for 17. We do have a strike on our hands, and the Yeti will now be taking 2d4 plus 2 points of slashing damage, as it is most certainly not immune to that type of damage. So 2d4 plus 2 points of slashing damage rolling in, and that is 2 1s plus 2 for 4 points of damage. That is the lowest it could have possibly been, but at least there is some damage on the table. Yeti taking some simple nicks and scratches there from the werewolf, as its 51 hit points drops to 47. And now once again we will hand back over to the Yeti, which is going to continue to do what it does best and claw away at its opponent. So once again, first of these 2 claw attacks rolling through, and again 11 plus 17 is a sure strike, as we roll in that d6 points of cold damage. And there we go, once again another 5 points of damage on the board from that first strike, which will bring the werewolf down to 20 hit points as the second claw fires in. And a 7 plus 6 is going to make for 13, just about, but still definitely a connecting strike. The Yeti really is going all out right here against the werewolf. We get another d6 worth of cold damage on the board here again. And there we go, another 4 points of damage, bringing the werewolf down to just 16 hit points. As we hand over once again to the lupine warrior, combat continues. A bloody melee, up close and personal, claws and jaws clamping down upon one another as the creatures desperately look to put an end to one another. So werewolf rolling in for its first attack. Let's see if it can finally land a bite attack. And a 17, that's what we're looking for, +4 for 21. That bite has finally landed. Werewolf teeth sinking into the shoulder of the Yeti here, as it deals 1d8 plus 2 points of piercing damage. So rolling that one in. And another 1! What is the werewolf doing out here? That is another 1 plus 2 for 3 points of damage from the bite. The Yeti is just proving far too resistant for the werewolf to handle here, as it is dropped from 47 down to 44 hit points. But the werewolf does still, of course, have its claws to come in with, and that is just what it shall do. The claws coming in again, +4 to this. And a 4 plus 4 for 8. What is the werewolf doing out here? It does really seem to have been wobbled by this opponent. The Yeti's intimidating presence, it is, of course, a size larger than the werewolf, perhaps weighing in on on this, but alas, that is once again no damage, and I should mention that as well, if the target had been a humanoid, it would have had to succeed a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or be cursed with werewolf lycanthropy. Thankfully for everybody here, the Yeti is a monstrosity. You can only imagine what a lycanthropic Yeti would look like, but that is not a concern on our minds today, as we do hand back over to the Yeti as it continues to throw in with its claws. The Yeti rolling in once again, and an 18 plus 6 for 24. The Yeti is continuing on the rampage here, as it will deal yet another 6 points of cold damage, and another 5 on the table there. The Yeti has been consistent with this. The werewolf is dropped from 16 to 11 hit points as that second strike rolls in, and that again is an 11 plus 6 for 17. Another strike landing home. Another 1d6 points of cold damage coming through, and another 6. The Yeti really doesn't know what it's doing out here, as it drops the werewolf from 11 hit points to a mere 5 now. The werewolf is definitely looking like it's succumbing from some kind of fatigue, but there is still some fight in this dog yet, and it is going to weigh in with that bite once again as we hand back over. First strike coming in, and with a 6 plus 4 for 10, it is not going to manage the strike. Tiredness proving a factor here now for the werewolf as its claws swing in. Let's see if it can do any better. And a 6 again, plus 4 for 10. It is not going to hit the Yeti. It will not be striking the monstrosity in front of it, as we do hand back over once again to the hulking alpine monster, which will be looking to put an end to the werewolf here as it rolls in with its first claw attack of 2. Let's see if it can do it. And with a 7 plus 6 for 13, that strike has landed. Another d6 worth of cold damage coming through, and there we have it. What an absolute finish there from the Yeti as it rolls maximum damage on the d6, bringing the werewolf down to 0 hit points as it finishes the job it came here to start. One of the absolute arena favorites to win the CR3 tournament has just been taken out by the Yeti in what we could call an abominable display of combat prowess. No doubt the crowd below me is going absolutely nuts for the spectacle they've just witnessed. Even the mountain wranglers themselves appear surprised at this result, but as we full well know, anything can happen here in the arena, and the Yeti just had what it needed today, securing the win and a spot in the semi-final round where it will be facing off against the Displacer Beast in a future combat. And with all that said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this battle in which the Yeti proved itself in the arena against the werewolf, and I really hope you will join me again next time when the Spectator takes on the Gold Dragon Wormling in what we can only imagine as an aerial duel to the death. And as always, if you did enjoy what you saw, please consider dropping a like on the video, commenting down below, and subscribing to the channel if you want to see more arena combat. We do also do other videos on here, such as creature features, general TTRPG stuff, and some Tales from the Tabletop every now and again, so be sure to check some of those out too. I do also have a Patreon if you want to get slightly further involved or support me a little bit more personally, and each and every one of you is appreciated over there. And once again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon.